Hello, everyone. A very good evening again to you all. It's sharp 5:30. I think we should begin now. We have gathered up today to discuss the developments and challenges of GST in the last 5 years. This webinar is organized by the Indirect Taxes Committee of CAclubindia with the title of discussion as GST Evolution, Ease of Business and Challenges, Journey of 5 Years. This discussion would be led by renowned CA, Mr. Bimal Jain. He shall also discuss on the important recommendations made in the recent 47th GST Council meeting. Mr. Bimal Jain is a member of Institute of Chartered Accounts of India since May 1994 and a member of Institute of Company Secretaries of India since December 2006, tagged along with a bachelor's degree in law. He has more than 24 years of experience in indirect taxation and specializes in all aspects of service tax, value-added tax, central sales tax, central excise, customs, foreign trade policy, special economic zones, export-oriented unit, export-import laws, and is very well acquainted with the concept and impact of goods and services tax, that is GST. He has a blend of industry as well as consulting experience with renowned companies like LG Electronics, India Private Limited, Khaitan and Company, and such others. Currently, he is the executive director of A2Z Taxcorp LLP, a boutique indirect tax firm. I welcome him to this forum and look forward to an engaging discussion on the GST's evolution and challenges in the past 5 years. The introduction of the goods and services tax, that is GST, has been a significant step in the field of indirect tax reforms in India. By amalgamating a large number of central and state taxes into a single tax, GST has mitigated ill effects of cascading and double taxation in a major way and has paved way for a common national market. It has been a roller coaster ride for the economy with the advent of COVID-19 pandemic, which is still not under control. It is highly appreciable that the gross GST revenue collection has crossed rupees 1.68 lakh crore mark for the first time in April 2022. This shows clear improvement in the compliance behavior, which has been a result of various measures taken by the tax administration to nudge taxpayers to file returns timely, to make compliance easier and smoother, and strict enforcement action taken against errant taxpayers identified based on data analytics and artificial intelligence. With this, let us begin today's webinar now. Over to you, Chartered Accountant, Mr. Bimal Jain.
At the outset, let me thank CAclubindia for organizing important webinar. We are on the cusp of 5 years journey of GST. We all know GST got introduced on July 1, 2017. We all have a lot of experience once GST got introduced in the country. Today, in 1 hour dedicated session, I'm going to just give you the glimpses that how this journey all about, where we are heading for. The main objective of any taxation system, as we all try to get ease of business, simplification, and GST as the tag name, good and simple tax. We all need to really determine today whether really we got good and simple tax as we envisaged. Yes, when GST got introduced, 4 important broad parameter, silver lining parameter, was the basis of GST introduced in the country. The first one, multiplicity of taxes. Pre-GST, we have seen lot many indirect taxes either levied by central government or state government. Around 17 indirect taxes and 23 cess merge into one basket. That is the greatest advantage we are drawing once GST got introduced in the country. Cascading of taxes, tax on tax. In pre-GST era, you would be knowing that central excise charged by a manufacturer to a VAT dealer. Credit was not available in the hands of VAT dealer. VAT dealer was charging VAT to a chartered accountant Credit was not available in the hands of chartered accountant. Chartered accountant was charging service tax to the VAT dealer, no credit in the hands of VAT dealer. And many other taxes, CST, entry tax, octroi, etc. Credit was not available. Cascading of taxes was there. Then coming to third advantage, double taxation. Pre-GST era, we have seen many transactions were chargeable to double taxation. If you take up an example of restaurant services in pre-GST era, service tax was leviable and VAT was leviable on same transaction. Other example could be works contract, construction services, software. We were charging both the taxes, service tax and VAT, both together. So double taxation was existing in pre-GST era. In GST, double taxation has gone because in GST, they have given Schedule 2. And Schedule 2 clearly determine a transaction can either be supply of goods or supply of services. So there will not be double taxation. And the foremost advantage, which I normally say, that the GST law is a Gita, Bible, and Quran. Irrespective of any language, religion, race, and caste. I'm sitting in Delhi. I request all the participants to mute themselves, or otherwise, Shruti, you mute themselves.
Yes, please.
And that is the better way.
Yeah, please keep yourself mute. I am muting everyone, but just please keep yourselves mute.
Yeah. So why I'm saying GST law is a Gita, Bible, and Quran, irrespective of any language, religion, race, and caste, for simple reason, the GST law, which is applicable in Delhi, same applicable in Kerala, Karnataka, AP, Orissa.
Sir, if you could just
language is not a barrier. So GST law, same whatever we are doing in Delhi, applicable pan-India. That is the greatest advantage. And India has become, one territory. Same law applicable Kashmir to Kanyakumari. Added advantage. But what are the challenges we have seen last 5 years? And you all are there with me. You can also make a mention in a chat box. When GST law got introduced, it was really having good objective in the mind. With the law as drafted and implemented, where we are finding challenges, I'm highlighting some challenges before you, and we'll be looking for your views and input and suggestions. First one, when we go back to GST law, the taxable event is supply. Supply is chargeable to GST, but the way the term supply is being defined in GST law, it looks like to me a lot of litigation we will see in time to come only on term supply. Similar like term manufacture under the Central Excise Act. Now, let me take one example so that you get a clarity, and I would be looking for the answer also. I'm dealing with so many, government bodies and representing subject matter to CBIC and GST Council. One of the subject matter I'm highlighting before you, I have conveyed them, sir. When you have made the GST law and kind of amendment, when you make in the GST law, it need proper understanding by your ground level GST officer. They are not understanding in a right perspective. And second, I'm finding the difference in terms of understanding CGST officer versus SGST officer. And I'm sure you all will agree with me that they are not well equipped or prepared in terms of understanding of GST law. Let me take one example. I'm registered in Delhi. I'm a taxable person registered in Delhi. I got one contract from a US customer from USA. Now this contract is supply of goods was supposed to be done to US customer. So I could have sent goods from India to US, but instead of sending goods from India to US, I have identified the vendor supplier in Korea. And this vendor in Korea has supplied goods directly to my customer at US. So goods are moving from Korea to US. But I'm the conduit, I'm the person through whom this transaction is being executed. Let me check. You can also answer in the chat box whether on purchase, let's say $100 is the purchase value on my debit side of PL account. Please tell me whether custom duty, including IGST, leviable on that $100, which is purchase cost on debit side of my PL account. Say yes and no in a chat box so that I get a clarity. Write down in a chat box whether leviable or not leviable. So a lot of you are answering, and this is appreciated. When you're answering, you will get clear certainty. Of course, not leviable. You all are right. No custom duty, no IGST for simple reason. Goods has not entered into custom frontier of India. Goods has gone from Korea to US. So debit side of PL account, no custom duty determined. Second aspect, you're getting revenue from your US customer, $120, which is on credit side of PL account, which is sales revenue for yourself. Please tell me whether GST leviable on this $120, which is revenue coming on credit side of your PL account. Tell me yes and no in a chat box. Leviable or not leviable? So a lot of you are answering no, and definitely answer is no. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But what happened? This particular entry, supply of goods from non-taxable territory Korea to another non-taxable territory US, got inserted by way of amendment in Schedule 3 from 1st of February 2019. 1st of February 2019. Now, we are finding a lot of so-called notices are being issued for the period prior to 1st February 2019. And departmental officers are saying this is chargeable to GST because amendment was effective only from 1st February 2019. Now, look at the irony. Can you really levy tax on a transaction which is affirmed in Schedule 3, neither a supply of goods nor supply of services, but still so-called notices are being issued? Problem here is that these amendment which is coming, we have to understand the meaning of the legislature. Shruti, Mukesh Kumar is, again, you have to mute everyone. This is the practical problem.
I know. I have muted, but they are able to. I'll just do that again.
Mr. Mukesh, can you? Okay. So question is, why such kind of so-called notices will come, and why such kind of litigation? And advanced ruling authority, 99.99% you will find, they are not giving judgment in favor of a taxpayer. They're pro-revenue. Contrary judgment are coming from their side. And irony is, one state authority giving contrary judgment when we look at the judgment from other state authority. So this advanced ruling, which was meant to provide certainty and clarity, it is not coming out. So what is the purpose of this advanced ruling which we are referring to? Point one. But here, let me take another case. Let's say $120, and we have decided it is neither a supply of goods nor supply of services because of Schedule 3 transaction. You may have common ITC, right? Common ITC. Now, this common ITC may have been used for this outward supply on which you have not paid the GST because Schedule 3 transaction. Now I'm asking one question to all of you. For our understanding sake, to what extent we are prepared, whether we require to reverse common ITC pertaining to this outward supply on which we have not discharged GST liability because it is neither a supply of goods nor supply of services. Please tell me yes and no in a chat box so that I get a clarity. Do I require to reverse common ITC pertaining to this outward supply on which I have not paid GST? And answer H to all of you, though I'm getting answer from so many participants today and they are saying no, yes, we do not require to reverse ITC pertaining to this outward supply. And this provision is there under explanation under section 17, subsection 3 of CGST Act. This is the one part of the story. Second part of the story, there is the law, but litigation is going on. Let me take another example. And I'm asking each one of you that as a taxpayer, we are availing credit, right? When we are availing credit through GSTR 3B. So question is, when I'm availing credit, whether it should be checked or my credit is really dependent on GSTR 2A, that's what I'm asking. I know that from 1st of January 2022, 2B is important. But prior to 1st January 2022, whether my credit is really dependent on GSTR 2A, please tell me yes or no. I'm asking from each one of you and you're gonna give me the answer. So answer is coming no, yes, mixed answer is coming in a chat box. And my answer to once again, see, for availing credit, we need to satisfy 4 conditions, right? What are those 4 conditions? As a buyer, you should have tax invoice copy. You must have received goods and services. Your supplier must have paid taxes. So there is a case that supplier has filed GSTR 3B, paid the taxes, but he hasn't filed GSTR 1, so as it is not auto-populating in your 2A. And being recipient, you are regularly filing your GST return. These are the 4 conditions. GSTR 2B, this particular 5th condition got introduced only from 1st January 2022. I'm creating some of the example for you. I'm a supplier in Delhi and you may be my buyer in Maharashtra. We both are registered. While furnishing my GSTR1, I have wrongly furnished GST number. Your GST number, buyer's GST number, I have wrongly furnished in my GSTR1. Is it going to be auto-populated in a GSTR2A? Say yes or no. It was B2B supply, but wrongly furnished as a B2C by the supplier. Is it going to be furnished? It is going to be auto-populated in your GSTR2A. It was interstate supply from Delhi to Maharashtra, IGST, but wrongly furnished by the supplier as an intrastate. What happened? Can you see the credit available to you in GSTR 2A? Another case could be I filed GSTR 1 coming in your 2A, but I did not file GSTR 3B, did not pay the taxes. Or a case, I paid the taxes through 3B, but not filed GSTR 1. So what happened in all those cases, all those situations, being buyer, being recipient, I'm saying to the government, sir, there were 4 conditions, I'm satisfying 4 conditions. There was no reference of GSTR 2A. Why my credit would be dependent on GSTR 2A? Am I right in saying so? But lot of, litigation, scrutiny notices we are getting. Department is issuing so many scrutiny notices only on this point. If credit availed in GSTR 3B does not match with GSTR 2A. I asked this question to the government as well, to government authority as well. Now I'm asking to each one of you, whether my credit is really dependent on 2A. As per me, my credit is not dependent on GSTR 2A. And that's what the litigation going on. and they are issuing notices. Now, let me tell you one Supreme Court judgment. Supreme Court judgment. Only on GSTR 2A, that my credit is not dependent on GSTR 2A. What happened in case of one of the landmark judgment of Bharti Airtel? Bharti Airtel, for the period July 17 to September 17, while filing GSTR 3B, they did not avail the credit because that time GSTR 2A was not available. July 17 to September 17. 930 crore rupees, 930 crore rupees, not a small amount, is being paid by Bharti Airtel through cash, through e-cash ledger. They did not use the e-credit ledger because they have not availed the credit. They were not knowing at all. September 2018, when GSTR 2A came into the picture, Bharti Airtel came to know that they were having enough credit, more than 930 crore for the period July 17 to September 17. So what they plead before Honorable Delhi High Court, my lord, kindly allow me to amend my GSTR 3B. Whatever I have paid through cash, I should be permitted to use my credit account because that credit was available. And the argument given by Bharti Airtel was that GSTR 2A was not available. Hence, we could not determine that the credit is available to me. That is the reason we have paid the liability through cash. Now, since credit was available to me, I should be allowed to amend my GSTR 3B and I should adjust payment through my e-credit ledger, and whatever I paid through cash must be refunded back to me. Honorable Delhi High Court allowed the amendment of GSTR 3B and refund of 930 crore. Matter has gone to Honorable Supreme Court. What Honorable Supreme Court has said, listen very carefully. Honorable Supreme Court has said to Bharti Airtel, Mr. Bharti Airtel, GST is a self-assessment tax. You should have taken the credit when you have satisfied the 4 conditions of section 16, subsection 2. And this GSTR 2A, which you are pleading before us, that this was not available, that's the reason you could not take credit. Don't plead. GSTR 2A, only a facilitation. Only a facilitation. You could have taken the credit and you could have utilized the credit for discharging your output tax. Once you have chosen the option of discharging the tax through e-cash ledger, now no option available. And this Honorable Supreme Court is saying 2A is only a facilitation. Honorable Supreme Court, when this is the judgment as on date, why then scrutiny notices? Just because my credit is not matching with GSTR 2A. Way forward, GSTR 2B, now we need to check from 1st January 2022. There's no escape route. And let me ask this question to my all participants once again. What happened post 1st January 2022 if supplier is wrongly furnishing GST number or capturing B2B as a B2C or capturing interstate supply as a intrastate or not filing GSTR1, so it's not coming in 2B? Post 1st January 2022, being buyer, can you avail credit if it is not coming in your GSTR 2B? Please tell me yes and no in a chat box. Yes and no in a chat box. That's what I'm looking for. You can't avail. There's no escape route. From 1st January 2022, you have to ensure it is coming in GSTR 2B, but two situations. Situation number 1, even though it is coming in GSTR 2B, but still you can't avail credit. That is the case. Can you tell me one example in a chat box? It is coming in a 2B, but still credit is not available. And the prominent case could be that I'm supplying goods on 30th June from Delhi, raising invoice on 30th June, filing my GSTR1, getting auto-populated for you in 2B for the June month, but you're receiving goods on 5th of July, next month. Can you avail the credit in the month of June, for which goods are being received in July? Answer is big no. So even though credit coming in 2B, but still credit is not available. Another case, it is not coming in 2B, but can you avail credit? And what could be the example? Reverse charge method, RCM. When you are paying RCM liability, and so many of you are answering RCM, and rightly say so. So this is the second aspect, litigation. Who is creating litigation in GST? Who is accountable and responsible for that? There are many factors which I can add here. Now coming to the third point, which is very, very important. There are certain bona fide buyer and recipient. They are saying, sir, we have purchased the goods. We got genuine invoice with us. Now there are certain cases which is coming out as a fake invoice, fake credit. What is the fake invoice and fake credit? To explain this transaction, let me take an example. You all are my customer. Let's assume you all are my customers. See, Maharashtra. I'm your supplier in Delhi. I have supplied the goods to you, interstate IGST charged. You have availed the credit. Now, maybe after, availing credit, and I'm creating example, you purchase the goods from me sometime in August 2018. Assume like that. You purchase the goods from me sometime in August 2018. There's some search at my end, suppliers end, let's say in 2020. And then department is alleging at the end of supplier that supplier's credit is ineligible. Why supplier's credit is ineligible? Reason could be Bimal purchased from A or X, L1 or L2 vendor. They have only filed GST R1, but they did not pay the taxes. They did not pay the taxes. So this credit is availed by Bimal Jain. Use this credit for discharging output tax. So the credit which has flown to you, it is ineligible credit. Example number one. Example number two could be Bimal Jain is not traceable, non-existent. And department now saying in 2021, they are saying to you, to the recipient, to the client, that your credit is not available because your supplier is non-existent. Now, these are the litigation which is going on. And the problem and irony we have to really understand. And some example could be the three party involved, A, B, C. A has raised the invoice for 100 rupees, charge 18% IGST to B. B has again raised the invoice for 110 and charge 18% IGST. And C again with a value addition of 10%. But when department catch holding this transaction, they are demanding tax from all three parties. Is it triple taxation? At most, it can be value addition, right? In the hands of A is the main person raising invoice. In the hands of B to the extent of value addition. In the hands of C to the extent of value addition. But they are demanding tax from all three parties. So what is the answer available? Let me give you the answer. Let me tell you the answer. As a client, as a recipient. First point, which you will say to the court, which you will say from your side, my lord, I have taken credit satisfying all four conditions of section 16, subsection 2. But please tell me, if department alleged the supplier's credit was ineligible because Bimal supplier who has taken purchase from A or X and Y, and A, X and Y has only filed GST R1 but did not pay the taxes. As a customer, as a client, can you see the transaction beyond Bimal Jain? Say yes and no. Can you see the transaction? You can only see whether Bimal Jain has filed GST R1 or not. Whether Bimal Jain has paid the taxes or not. But beyond Bimal Jain, you can't see. And there's legal maxim, doctrine of impossibility. Lax non cogit ad impossibilia. Meaning thereby, you cannot compel a person to do something impossible. I can argue before the court and say to the court, my lord, beyond B, I can't see anything. There's no window available. Then how you can allege that my credit is ineligible? If Bimal Jain is defaulter, or Bimal Jain purchased from A, X, and Y, if they are defaulter, go and catch hold of them, collect the tax from them. Why are you coming back to me? Another case could be that as a customer, you have paid the taxes to me, right? To the supplier. Supplier did not deposit. If supplier did not deposit, whether your credit can be denied. They are denying the credit, right? But their judgment, pre-GST era, Supreme Court judgment, KK Industries, under that, lot many judgment from different High Court, including Delhi High Court judgment of Arise India Limited. Even in GST Madras High Court judgment, DY Bethel Enterprises, it is clearly saying that credit can't be denied for the recipient for the fault of supplier. And what court is saying, go and catch hold of Bimal Jain snake, supplier snake. Who is defaulter? You have given registration to the supplier. If supplier is not depositing the tax, go and catch hold Bimal Jain only, supplier only. You can't deny credit in the hands of recipient, buyer. That's what the judgment coming out. So my conclusion to all of you would be these kind of problems. Why these kind of problem has arisen? Please tell me. Why these kind of problem has arisen? And who is accountable and responsible? Who is accountable? Let me tell you, 5 years of journey, right? Let me tell you, when GST law got introduced, they have envisaged automated GST return system, automated. And what was that automated, you know? As a supplier, I'm going to file GSTR1 by 10th of next month. It is going to be auto-populated for the buyer in GSTR2A. Then you can do add, modify, and delete. Means you can add the transaction if supplier has not furnished. You can modify the transaction if supplier has made any mistake, wrong furnishing of GST number, B2B as a B2C, inter as a intra. You could modify the same, right? Or you can delete the transaction if it is not related to you when you're filing GSTR2, right? And once you do add, modify, and delete, it is going to be auto-populated for the supplier in GSTR1A. And supplier has to accept or reject whatever correction done by you. And then the GSTR3 is supposed to be filed. Section 37, 38, 39, 42, 43. These provision of ITC matching and mismatching was so important. But what happened? Government did not introduce GSTR 2 and 3 from July 17. They kept only GSTR 1. 2A came sometime beginning of 2019. And in lieu of GSTR 3, they have introduced GSTR 3B. And for that also, you know, litigation was there. By Gujarat High Court, initially said 3B is not a return. Then government has made retrospective amendment. Then matter has gone to Supreme Court relying on Bharti Airtel judgment. They have said 3B is a return under section 39. But now you tell me, when this automated GST return system was not implemented, by not introducing GSTR 2 and 3, then how could ITC matching concept, which is there in GST law, could have been checked and verified? And how you can put blame on the head of recipient, client, who is very bona fide, taking all reasonable measure, beyond the supplier, he can't see any transaction. How could be an honorable High Court in the case of LGW Industries Limited, followed in Sanchita Kundu, Odisha High Court judgment, Bright Star Plastic Industries Limited has categorically said, you cannot deny the credit unless you prove the connivance of recipient, buyer with the supplier. Then only. So you have to start investigation and prove that there is connivance between both the parties. And how can be a past period transaction, August 2018, can be at least no credit available just because in 2020 you found the supplier is non-existent? You have given the registration. They were filing their GSTR 1 and 3B during the impugned time period. Now it can't be alleged. By way of investigation today, you can't allege past period transaction was not correct transaction and credit is not available. But this dispute is going on. So I've given some flavor and I have some question in my mind. I know journey of GST 5 years cannot be completed in 1 hour session. But today, since we have got important highlights from 47 GST Council meeting, so we have to really understand what is important. Now, pertaining to this fake invoice, on GST Council has now recommended they will issue a circular for demanding the tax amount and penalty. Definitely required. You cannot demand tax and penalty from all 3 persons in supply chain. There could be 4 persons, there could be 5 persons, and they all are not accountable to pay the liability. Then otherwise it would be double taxation, triple taxation, 4-time taxation. At most, GST is a value addition tax. It may start from A, then going to B with the value addition, B to C going with the value addition. You cannot demand same tax from all 3 parties in supply chain. Circular they are going to issue. This is a good recommendation by GST Council in their latest meeting, 47 GST Council meeting. Let me take some of the important recommendation which is being made. In this 47 GST Council meeting, I'm dividing the topic into 4 broad components. First, there's a change in GST rate. So they're changing GST rate for the region they have cited to done away inverted duty structure. And what is inverted duty structure? When GST rate on input is higher, comparing the GST rate on output. For layman understanding, if my input is 18% chargeable and my output is 12% chargeable, there will always be accumulation of 6%. And that is what we are talking about, inverted duty structure. So what government is doing now, government is changing GST rate on finished product and making it 18%. So there will not be any inverted duty structure. That's what their approach. But let me tell you and ask you, there are so many GST changes you have seen in 47 GST Council meeting which is being proposed. And I can take those examples like works contract services for the construction of road, bridge, railway. GST rate is proposed to be changed from 12% to 18%. Works contract services to central government, state government, and local authority for construction of historical emoluments. Education institution, hospital, rate is changing from 12 to 18%, and even this rate is applicable for subcontractor. Very good, no denial. But what I'm telling to all of you, just think and tell me in a chat box, which I'm looking for. By increasing the GST rate on output, is this the solution that you want to done away with the inverted duty structure? To my mind, this cannot be applied in such manner. Of course, there may be some case where you can increase the GST rate on final product to done away inverted duty structure. But whenever you're increasing GST rate on final product, it is also having incidents, tax incidents to be borne by the consumer, because pricing will go up to that extent. Whereas other option could be, you may reduce GST rate on input component so that it can be, inverted duty structure can be monitored and supervised. So when you're increasing GST rate on output, you could have reduced GST rate on input. Of course, I do agree that the revenue collection criteria, but you see, we have to have balanced approach. We cannot have only one-sided approach. Do you all agree with me? Say yes in the chat box. I'm just giving food for thought. That may not be applicable uniformly, but yes, this is the way we have to look at. Now, there are certain specified goods or services, GST rate changes are being proposed. So this GST rate, which is being proposed as change, going to be effective because I was getting many, query from my all participants, and they were asking this query to me. What is the date when this change of rate going to be applicable? It may be normal change in rate, or because of inverted duty structure. Any idea? I'm asking in a chat box. From when this is going to be applicable? 18th of July, 2022. Very well. Many participants are very strong. They have run through that press release. I'm admiring them and appreciating them. This is part one. Second thing, they have also now rationalizing exemption or withdrawing the exemption. Rationalizing or withdrawing the exemption. And one of the prominent case which would be that what happened to unbranded food item and grains. Exemption is there, right? Unbranded. If it is branded and you are giving up the right to that brand, then you can enjoy the exemption. But now they have added, they're going to revisit this exemption. And while revisiting, what they're saying, any pre-packaged or pre-labeled pack for retail pack in terms of Legal Metrology Act, that is going to be excluded from this exemption. So what happened? You may be having some kirana shop and they are only packaging or labeling for retail purpose. Even though they are not having any brand, but pre-packaged or pre-labeled in terms of Legal Metrology Act, now this exemption will not be available. There are certain things which they are referring to and which I'm telling you that services by RBI, Reserve Bank of India, SEBI, even GSTN exemption is now going to be withdrawn. Renting of immovable property for residential immovable property, services by way of renting of residential immovable property is exempted. But now this exemption is going away when this renting is being done to registered business entity, even though for residential purpose. So you are having a residential property, you are letting out to a company, and company is business entity, registered also, and they are going to use this property for residential purpose. Now they are saying this exemption will go away. Further, they are saying that preservation of stem cells by cord blood bank, this exemption will be withdrawn. These are the exemption they have given highlight. I'm not discussing all the pointers, but important pointers which will give a flavor what all important highlight of 47 GST Council meeting. Second parameter, they have said they are going to provide clarity for the trade facilitation. They're doing certain measure for the trade facilitation. And what are the measure they have prescribed? If you are a supplier supplying through e-commerce operator, then there is a compulsory registration under section 24 subsection 9. But now as per the recommendation, so threshold is, let's say 20 lakh or 40 lakh, 40 lakh for supplier of goods engaged in intrastate supply. They are saying this threshold now going to be applicable. So if it is less than the threshold amount and you are engaged only in intrastate, you should not be engaged, supplier should not be engaged in interstate supply, then in that case, they can enjoy the benefit of not taking the registration. Even for such supplier supplying through e-commerce operator, they are saying composition scheme would be available, composition scheme, and composition, lower rate. And the bar is he can't do interstate supply. Now I'm asking each one of you. In both the provision, they are saying such suppliers should not be engaged in interstate supply. Please tell me any vendor, any supplier supplying through e-commerce operator, Amazon and Flipkart. Normally I've seen 99% they are engaged in interstate. And to whom we are giving the benefit? To whom we are giving this benefit? That's what the point I'm raising here. And that is what we have to understand. Coming back to some good trade facilitation measure which they have announced and which we must take a note of it. You have wrongly availed the credit. Sometime happen. We have taken wrong credit and we have not utilized the same. Now we are reversing such credit. Whether interest is leviable, please tell me. Whether interest is leviable, interest on reversal of wrongly availed credit but not utilized under section 50 subsection 3 of CGST Act, which is the part of amendment made in Budget 2022, Finance Act 2022. Unfortunate part with retrospective date. This provision is with retrospective date July 1, 2017. Now, GST Council has said they are going to notify at the earliest, hence no interest on reversal of wrongly availed credit but not utilized from July 1, 2017. Another good and laudable change for which they are going to announce at the earliest, you are a taxable person, you are having 4 registration, let's assume 4 registration under one PIN number. In daily registration, you may have some surplus cash lying in your e-cash ledger of CGST and IGST. You're having some surplus cash in daily registration. Of your another registration in Tamil Nadu, let's say you're having liability, but you're not having any surplus cash in your e-cash ledger. Question was, can we transfer the surplus cash lying in CGST and IGST e-cash ledger from Delhi registration to Tamil Nadu registration under same PAN number? Is it possible? Can we do that? And that's what the Budget 2022, Finance Act 2022 has said possible. Now they are going to notify this provision. But let me ask one question to all of you. Let's say you're having liability in Tamil Nadu for SGST. Not for CGST and IGST. You're having liability for SGST. Now, can you transfer your surplus fund in CGST and IGST e-cash ledger to SGST head of Tamil Nadu e-cash ledger? Is it possible? But one good trick. First, you transfer your balance from daily registration, CGST and IGST to Tamil Nadu, CGST and IGST, and then from CGST and IGST of Tamil Nadu, you can transfer to SGST cash ledger. That's what you can do, PMT09. So Mohit is there. So he's saying, sir, PMT09. So this is the second point which I said, they are going to, as a trade facilitation. Coming back to another important aspect, when you import, and import in specific cases against advance authorization, EPCG and EOU. As on date, IGST exemption is there till 30th September 2022. Till 30th September 2022. Now they are saying and recommended that this exemption will continue even thereafter. And e-wallet scheme they will not pursue. It's a good one. So when you're importing against advance authorization, EPCG or EOU, IGST will continue to be exempted even beyond 30th September 2022. Coming back to the next aspect, which is again important. Okay, all right. So composition delay for GSTR4 for 21-22, date is extended to 20th July 2022, CMP08, due date extended till 31st July 2022, trade facilitation. Now coming to certain issues for which they are going to issue a circular. So what the GST Council has said, they are going to issue a circular for certain issues where a lot of disputes are in the trade. Maybe interpretation issue, maybe unwanted litigation. So these issues are being discussed in GST Council meeting and department going to issue a circular. And what are those pointers? Let's start one by one. For the fake invoice, I've told you that they are going to issue a circular to provide clarity how much they would be demanding and with whom they are going to demand, along with the penalty aspect. Next point, which is important one and which we have to understand, GSTR 3B, now they are saying henceforth, they will issue a circular and they are looking for being registered person. You should capture your all interstate supply. You must capture. And we were having some, different practice pan-India. And one of the case which I know, B2C transaction counter sell. B2C transaction counter sell. You are unregistered from Maharashtra coming to Delhi. And I'm a supplier registered in Delhi and it's B2C transaction. And it is more than 50,000 rupees. So taxable value is more than 50,000 rupees. I'm asking you for B2C or counter sell, more than 50,000. It would be intrastate or interstate? Please tell me. You can give the right answer in a chat box. It would be interstate. Rule 46 sub-rule E clearly saying you must capture name and address of the recipient, address for delivery, even state name and code. And why so? Because GST is a destination-based consumption tax. GST must accrue to a state where ultimately goods and services are being consumed. You need to capture your ineligible credit also. Section 17, subsection 5, which is block credit, negative list. They're saying you need to capture this particular credit, block credit and ineligible credit in your GSTR 3B. And another clarification they are talking about, they are going to issue a circular for interpretation of certain item under section 17, subsection 5. What is section 17, subsection 5? Block credit, negative list, right? And there are lot many dispute when I'm giving gold coin to my dealer and distributor to boost myself, to promote myself. Is it a gift? When I'm giving sample to boost myself, whether credit is being denied under section 17, subsection 5, clause H, they're going to issue a circular. Even getting factory constructed, office constructed, hotel, mall constructed, on construction, credit is being denied. Under section 17, subsection 5, they are going to issue a circular. Well, that is envisaged so that we can reduce the litigation. This is one part of the story. Coming back to perquisite, when we are giving perquisite apart from salary by employer to the employee, but under contractual agreement, what happened? GST leviable. We know employment contract is out of GST in lieu of para 1, schedule 3. What happened? Perquisite which is being given, those are incentive given to the employee by the employer. What is the treatment of GST? So they're going to issue a circular on that. Now, another aspect they are saying, utilization of your e-credit ledger and e-cash ledger towards tax liability or other liabilities. Other liabilities could be your penalty, late fees. They are saying we are going to issue a circular and clarify how you can utilize your balance in e-cash ledger and e-credit ledger. Reason is very simple. They do not want that you should use your e-credit ledger, e-cash ledger or e-credit ledger. Please careful about. E-cash ledger can be definitely used for payment of taxes, interest, penalty, no problem. But e-credit ledger will only be allowed to be utilized for your tax liability, not for your interest, not for your penalty, not for your late fees. That's what they're going to issue a circular in that regard. Now, they're the exporter and they're having credit script, MEIS, SEIS, and they're selling such script in the market. This is considered as an exempted supply because there is no GST, nil rate of GST applicable on such credit script. So become exempted supply. So question is, do we require to reverse common ITC pertaining to this exempted supply, which is supply of credit script, duty credit script. They have said that now no reversal would be required, laudable one. In terms of explanation 1, Rule 43, and circular is going to be issued in this regard. Now coming back to export of electricity, there may be a case of accumulated ITC in the hands of exporter who is exporting electricity. They have said he would be allowed refund on that account, refund on that account. Then coming duty-free shops at international airport. When outgoing international passenger going and purchasing from duty-free shop, it is considered as export, and the export benefit would be given to duty-free shop. Two clarity here I would like to discuss, which is very important, prominent. One clarity, electric vehicles with battery pack or without battery pack. Dispute, lot of advance ruling, contrary. Now they are saying electric vehicles with or without battery pack would be chargeable at concessional rate of 5%, laudable one. But this is next one, which is more laudable one. When plot is being developed, so plot is being developed by leveling the plot, and drainage systems are being put for that plot, and then plot are being sold to the customer, whether GST leviable on development of the plot. At least GST Council has recognized this problem, and they have said, no, it will be sale of land. And sale of land being out of GST, neither a supply of goods nor supply of services in terms of Schedule 3 transaction. So these two clarity are very, very important one. Coming back to certain measure which they have identified for streamlining compliances, The first one, we were hearing a lot of things that GST 3B, they will allow to be revised. They will allow to get amended. We have heard that the GST Council is going to recommend the same, but there's no news for revision or amendment of GST 3B. No news, please. They have only said they will put up GST 3B for inviting suggestion, input from the stakeholders. Second part, which is again for you very interesting, you are exporter and you need to file your refund claim under section 54 for zero rated supply, or section 55. There's a time limit, 2 years, right? Relevant date, from the relevant date, 2 years time limit. The important aspect which is being recommended, the period starting from 1st March 2020 to 20th February 2022. This period would be excluded in period of limitation for filing refund claim. So good and laudable one. And similar benefit is also given to the taxpayer, tax department, that they can also issue demand, so-called notice and order by excluding this time period. Whenever they want to demand by way of so-called notice or order, this period 1st March 2020 to 20th February 2022 would be excluded in limitation time period. Simultaneously, they have said that for any other demand under section 73, and 73 is a non-fraud cases, any other demand under section 73, they are saying this period, and that period got extended to 30th September 2023 for section 73 issuance of so-called notice and order, because 73 is linked with the due date or furnishing annual return. So date was expiring earlier. Now this is being extended till 30th September 2023. And the last point, which is important and which they have discussed, that group of minister, you must have heard of that online gaming, horse race, casino. This matter is being postponed But here I would like to highlight 2-3 things very important. The compensation says, yes, it is not being extended, but of course for collection, it will continue till 31st March 2026. But states, those who are having revenue shortfall are demanding from the center that this period for compensation cess must be increased. Now here, last point of the day, and then I will conclude. I've given some flavor of important highlights of 47 GST Council meeting, but the important one. See, today, when I was talking journey, and I was talking about the way forward recommendation as made in 47 GST Council meeting, one point is very important for both of us together. For buyer and recipient, it is very important. He's looking for getting the credit. He's saying that I really want my credits should not be disputed. Am I right in saying so? Please tell me. Am I right in saying so? That credit in the hands of buyer and recipient, they are only looking for that my credit should not be disputed. And even government is working on those directions. They have introduced the provision, and these provision in time to come going to be applicable. Sequential filing of GST return. By sequential filing of GST return, I'm telling you this problem that credit disputed at the recipient end will be going to be reduced. And how come? Listen this carefully. Rule 59, sub-rule 6 of CGST rule. It is clearly saying unless you file your GSTR 3B for the preceding period, you will not be able to file GSTR 1 for the current tax period. So simple, for June month, if you want to file GSTR 1, you have to make sure that your GSTR 3B for the month of May is being filed. And why it is important? If this taxpayer filing 3B for the May month and then allowed to file GSTR 1 for June month, then being recipient, you would be safe that he has paid the taxes. Your supplier has paid the taxes. The dispute will not come. For that reason, keeping in mind this provision got amended. Coming back to 75 subsection 12 explanation. Now they are saying, Bimal, there will not be any difference of your outward supply furnished in GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B. If there is difference, then that would be considered as a self-assessment tax. And that can be recovered even without issuance of so-called notice under section 73 and 74. This is harsh. They're saying that they can recover, but try to listen this aspect. From government side, what they are saying, Bimal, you are filing GSTR 1, let's say your liability is only 1 lakh rupees, but you are furnishing as a 10 lakh rupees. So maybe your intention is to pass on the credit to your buyer, but you are paying the tax only to the extent of 1 lakh rupees by GSTR 3B. So there's a mismatch. So they're saying it is a self-assessment tax and it can be recovered without issuance of so-called notice. That's what the 75 subsection 12 explanation is saying. But taxpayer is now coming and saying, sir, I can also make clerical error. As against 1 lakh rupees, extra zero got added. It becomes 10 lakh. Just think of if 2 zero extra get added, it become 1 crore. Is it my liability? You're not giving me to amend my GSTR 1 as well. I can't revise. I can only put my amendment entry in subsequent month. So what taxpayer is saying, I was not willing to pass on the credit to my buyer. It was clerical mistake. Now you can't consider this difference of GSTR 1 and 3B as a self-assessment tax and can be recovered without issuance of so-called notice. That is what the taxpayer is saying. Both are right. Department is right. They want to catch hold such taxpayer who are filing GSTR 1 with excessive value and passing on the credit and not paying the taxes. Here, taxpayer is also right. He may make clerical mistake. Fortunate part, they have issued one clarification. And with the clarification, they are saying, no, they will not invoke recovery immediately. They will issue a notice. And of course, from the perspective that such differences over a period of time will get minimized, and thereby credit in the hands of buyer and recipient will be less disputed. Coming to the another aspect, what they are saying, and these are the two changes in budget 2022. Two changes in budget 2022. Under section 37, they are saying, Bimal, if you want to file your GSTR1 for the month of June, you have to make sure that you have filed your GSTR1 till May. So till preceding period, you must have filed your GSTR1. Unless you file till preceding period, you will not be allowed to file GSTR1 for the current period. Good one. Sometimes we struggle as a buyer and a recipient. Credit is not coming in 2B because supplier has not filed GSTR1. So with this provision, that is getting strengthened and good advantage. Section 39 changes. 39 says, Bimal, unless you file GSTR1 for current tax period, your GSTR3B will not be enabled. Meaning thereby, if you want to file 3B for the month of June, first you have to ensure you're filing GSTR1 for the month of June. Then only it is enabled for you to file GSTR3B. With this sequential filing of GST return, I'm sure the dispute pertaining to ITC because of wrong furnish by the supplier, sometime unintentional and sometime intentional. And that is what we are finding, fake invoice and fake credit. That will be minimized over a period of time. Having said, you are also having two important provision under section 37 for GSTR1, under section 39 for GSTR3B. Any omission and error, if you are made in GSTR1 and 3B, which is budget 2022, Finance Act 2022 proposal, it be amended till 30th November of next financial year, which was earlier only till September of next financial year. So date is again getting extended. And a lot of, trade facilitation measure we have seen in budget 2022. So we are having mixed bag. Mixed bag means they are good announcement, laudable announcement. Even in 47 GST Council meeting, I've shared with you, there are certain good announcement and certain announcement could have been made, but we are a work in progress. Things are moving, and hopefully in time to come, we will see the real fruits and beauty of GST. Only thing is that we both have to come together, department and the taxpayer. Journey is 5 years. The newly born baby on July 1, 2017 has become child now. So taxpayer has understood some of the provision, but still as on date, what I'm finding, even taxpayer need to understand the provision. Taxpayer need to introduce and incorporate the changes in their business system. A lot of things we have to really envisage to see the smooth compliances, automation, and the kind of proposal which I discussed with all of you. You will agree with me that things are happening, and over a period of time, we will see real visibility of GST as a good and simple tax. So thanking each one of you, giving me this opportunity, thanking to CAclubindia, to moderator of the day, Shruti, and to all the participants. I've tried my best to give a journey, that how this journey all about the 5 years with the important highlight of 47 GST Council meeting. Thank you very much. Handing over to Shruti for open house session. Any query you can post, maybe 10-15 minutes we can take to answer your query.
Yes, please. Anyone has any query, please put it on the chat box. We will try and just quickly answer in 10 minutes. We have a question, Akshay Girish. A lot of doll mill owners asking question regarding taxation on DAL. It means sale from DL mill in bulk will still be tax-free?
See, if it is unbranded and further it is not retail pack, then you can enjoy the benefit, exemption. Somebody asked what happened to negative balance for the composition dealer. Still problem is there. GST Council has recognized this problem and they have asked GSTN to correct this negative balance which is coming in cash ledger of the composition dealer. So maybe in a month time, you will find some solution from GSTN on negative cash balance. I've said Mohan Kumarji, I given the answer.
Yeah. We have Parimal Patel asking, in GSTR 2B, there is no detail available regarding GSTR 3B filing status. How can we confirm that tax has been paid by supplier?
So there are mix and match. You are getting GSTR 2A as a dynamic statement. You are getting GSTR 2B as a static statement. You have to see both the statement together. And you have to see the status of GSTR 3B filing by your supplier in GSTR 2A. That is the answer to you.
Okay. I hope that satisfies you. There is this question from Sobit Thapa. A private limited company providing legal services crosses threshold limit of rupees 20 lakhs in a year. Do they require to take registration?
If it is RCM liability, see, when we are talking about legal services from an advocate, it is RCM liability. And for RCM, there's a compulsory registration, but there is specific exemption to business entity having threshold less than 20 lakh rupees, which is the aggregate turnover for the registration, then specific exemption is there. But otherwise, as a chartered accountant, if I'm providing legal services, then that is forward charge liability. And I will continue to have benefit of 20 lakh rupees threshold for taking mandatory registration. Yes, please.
So Mr. Senthil is asking, what about rental on commercial place given to registered person? Who has to pay GST if the landlord is not the registered person?
See, if it's renting of commercial property, landlord has to take registration. No choice. No choice. It is supplier who has to take registration and charge GST.
Okay. Salim Ansari says one of his client has given tractor on lease and charging GST at 18% now from July 22. Should he charge 12% GST?
For charging 12%, you have to really go back on right to use of that tractor and the corresponding GST rate whenever changes. And this change is happening only from 18th of July. So you have to really see the notification. It is only recommendation which we are discussing today. So wait for the notification, then you can apply accordingly.
Can we take one last one? Do the residential property given to bank for employees have to pay GST now as bank is registered under GST? Ashok Jha is asking.
Definitely, yes, Ashokji, that is what the recommendation, renting of residential dwelling unit for residential purpose, but it is being given to registered business entity, even though their employee going to stay there, GST now going to be leviable. And certain other changes also, which time was paused, even the hotel tariff, hotel room, when you are going to a hotel and tariff is up to 1,000 rupees, which was earlier exempted. Now they are saying that is chargeable to GST at the rate of 12%. Even the room rent by the hospital when providing healthcare services and exceeding 5,000 rupees per day per patient. So healthcare is exempted, but room rent in that healthcare services, if it is exceeding 5,000 rupees per day per patient, then GST leviable at the rate of 5% with no ITC. That is what the recommendation of GST Council. So these changes will come by way of notification. So we have to wait, and these are the changes as recommended by GST Council. I have not run all the, I've just given flavor of important highlight, but in case you want to run all the important highlights, because today I have done the journey part of GST and important highlights of 47 GST Council meeting. If you want to run all important highlights, you can go back to my YouTube channel. And I have posted one video today, which is on highlights, important highlights of 47 GST Council meeting. Maybe that will clarify a lot of other queries and lot of other insight and input which has come from GST Council in their 47 GST Council meeting.
Okay. I think this was a wonderful and very enlightening session for all of us. I thank Mr. Jain for taking out time, and we are glad that you could be a part of such a phenomenal discussion today. All the participants can with worthy note the book by the speaker of today, titled GST Law and Commentary with Analysis and Procedures. I think this book may answer a lot of your queries as well. This interesting book extensively covers in-depth analysis of CGST, SGST, IGST, UTGST, and GST compensation cess laws, along with the rules, notifications, circulars, and clarifications issued thereunder, and comprehensively discusses all the key GST provisions along with challenges and way forward suggestions in commentary as well as tabular or pictorial formats with multiple practical case studies and examples. This book will provide an insight to the readers for ensuring proper understanding as good and simple tax, and can be used by professionals, corporates, regulators, government authorities, many more for easy and immediate reference. On this note, I close the discussion for today. And by the way, tomorrow being 1st July would be celebrated as CA Day. So I wish a very happy CA Day to all of you present here and hope great success and recognition comes your way. See you again for the next exciting webinar, and goodbye from CAclubindia. Have a great evening. Yes.
Before we close today, yes, I also want to congratulate each one of you. Being happy CA Day. We are proud chartered accountant.
Yes, yes.
No doubt about it, because we chartered accountants are playing crucial role for corporate governance and excellence. We are contributing for our ecosystem of financing, accounting, auditing, and taxation. We must know our worth. Our chartered accountant degree has got value, and we must ensure it is being delivered excellently. And we must distinguish our services for the nation growth and development. That is the real message of Chartered Accountant Day. We individually are responsible for our own action. So we must ensure we are doing excellently to the best of our capability. And that is what importantly required if at all we want to celebrate Chartered Accountant Day. Yes, if we will start, walk the talk, let's contribute together. And I always say together we will make difference. So we must appreciate each other, and let's take a pledge that we will do our best. And that is how we can say we are celebrating Chartered Accountant Day. And importantly for me, it's a GST day as well. So July 1. Okay. So celebrating both the day together, CA Day and GST Day. Wish each one of you, and I wish that you should have successful career ahead, good health, good wealth, and God bless all of us together. Thank you very much.
Certainly, sir. Applaud to everyone. Thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you.